This conference will now be recorded.
Now.
Oh,
So in the we have discussed about the various practical use cases of Apex programming, and we have discussed how can we write small business logics by using Apex programming language, and how can we do the required calculations manually by using various mathematical operators, and along with by using the ready-made formulas we have discussed in the previous session. And yesterday we have discussed about exceptions. What exactly an exception and what it indicates, when the exceptions will be getting arised, what will be the possible reasons, and how to handle those exceptions we have discussed in the previous session. So exception is nothing but an undesired behavior or an unexpected behavior of an application at runtime. That means upon executing the code as part of your Apex programming by using Apex runtime engine, while executing the piece of code, it may be causing some issues. Those issues are called as runtime errors or exceptions. Now, so whenever an exception is occurred, immediately it will stop executing the code. It will show that exception message in technical terms, like system dot math exception divided by zero. So whenever an exception is occurred, the abnormal termination of the program will happen. That means the program execution will be getting stopped at that particular point itself. Immediately, it will show the exception message to the user in the form of a technical format. That means in technical terms inside the dialog box. From there, your code will not get executed, so we can't see the results. Now, in this case, if we want to handle these kind of exceptions, we have to use the help of two features. First one, conditional statements. Second one, exception handling mechanism. First one, conditional statements. Second one, exception handling mechanism. So now, in this case, how can we use conditional statements? What conditional statements available in Apex programming? Now, let me explain one by one. Okay, we'll see each and every conditional statement with the practical use cases. Now, let me go to my Salesforce arc. I'm going to my Salesforce arc now. I'm going to the developer console. Now, I'm going to my execute anonymous window. I would like to place the code which I would like to execute. So, this is a piece of code. This is the piece of code which I'm going to execute. So now whenever I'm giving first number value as some 25,000, second number value as some 1200. I have given two values. If both the values, that means if the second number value is greater than 0, that means it may be 1, it may be 2, it may be 3, it may be anything. It will be performing all the 5 operations. Let's see. Click on execute button. Now we can see the results. Whatever the operations that we have done, all the operations are performed successfully. We are able to see the results. All the 5 results you can see. But whenever I'm passing the second number value as 0, upon passing the second number value as 0, when I click on execute button, it is causing that exception. System dot math exception divided by 0. And yesterday we have identified that this issue has been arised because of the division operation. Okay, this issue is arising because of the division operation. Addition operation is performing fine, subtraction is working fine, multiplication also working fine, but upon performing the division and the modulus, it is causing this issue. So in this case, what needs to be done before executing this a piece of code? Before executing this a piece of code, here I would like to add a check. Before executing this piece of code, here I would like to add a check. I want to add a condition. I want to place a no entry board. Boss, if the second number value is greater than 0, then only execute this operation. If the second number value is equals to 0, that means whenever we are dividing the number by 0, it will cause this exception. So for that one, don't execute this a piece of code if the second number value is equals to 0. So now here I would like to add a condition here. I would like to check the condition if the second number value is greater than 0 or not. It may be 1, it may be 2, it may be 10, it may be 1000, whatever, anything. If it is more than 0, then only I would like to execute this a piece of code. Or else I would like to skip the execution of these statements here so that we can avoid this problem. Now, so now in this case, generally I'm executing the statements in the same sequence here, one by one, one by one, one by one. Whenever we are executing these statements, here I would like to check the condition here. Okay, I would like to check the condition. Because I'm adding a condition, if the second number value is greater than 0, then only I would like to execute this piece of code. Or else I want to skip the execution of this code. Because if the second number value is equals to 0, then this particular operation will be returning the result as infinitive. Now this infinitive value cannot be storing inside my integer variable, so that it is causing that exception. To avoid this kind of problems, I would like to check the condition first. Before executing this statement, I would like to check the condition. If the condition is satisfied, then only I would like to execute this piece of code, or else I would like to we can skip the execution of this statement so that we can avoid these exceptions. Okay. Now, so in this kind of situation, I would like to execute this a piece of code based on this condition result. Based on this condition result, I would like to execute this piece of code. In this case, conditional statements are used to add one or more user defined conditions. Conditional statements are used to add one or more user defined conditions to be get verified before executing the statements. So before entering into the shopping mall, whatever the way the people are cross checking each and every person, the security person will cross check everybody here by using manual check also, or metal detectors also, they will cross check that. If the people are having any such kind of unwanted items like as pistols, bombs, knives, any flammable items, tiffin boxes, bags, if the people are having any such kind of unwanted items, simply they will throw them out. They won't allow to enter into the shopping mall. Suppose if the people are not having any such kind of unwanted items, then they will allow the people to enter into the shopping mall. They can do the shopping whatever they want. So whatever the way we have security personals are available, okay, before the shopping mall, like the similar way here also, before this particular piece of code, I would like to add a condition. Now, first of all, the condition has to be get verified. If the condition is satisfied, then only it will be entering into the block, it will execute the statements. Suppose if the conditions are not satisfied, simply it will skip the execution of the statement. Okay, clear? In order to avoid this kind of exceptions, just we are skipping the execution of these statements based on some condition results. So in this case, if you want to execute some piece of code, if you want to execute some statements based on a condition result, then we can go with the help of conditional statements. So by using conditional statements, we can add one or more user defined conditions. We can add one or more user defined conditions to be get verified before executing the statements. So that we are using conditional statements. By using these conditional statements, we can change the control flow of your application execution. We can change the control flow. For example, here second number value I am passing 0. Now here it will be executing the statements one by one, one by one, one by one. Here it will check the condition. Second number greater than 0. What is my second number value here? 0. Now tell me 0 is greater than 0. No, condition is false. 0 is equals to 0. So that here, if the condition is failed, simply it will skip the execution of the statement. That means instead of executing the statements in the sequential manner, we are going to be changing the control flow of the program execution by using conditional statements. So, with the help of these conditional statements, we can change the control flow of your application execution as well. So now, in this case, as part of Apex programming provides three conditional statements. Apex provides three conditional statements. First one, if conditional statement. Second one, switch statement. Third one, ternary operator. Ternary operator. Now, this can be denoted with the help of a question mark and a colon. Okay. Now, these are the three conditional statements that we have. If conditional statement, switch statement, ternary operator. As part of our formulas concept, we have discussed this function. If function also we have discussed. Switch also. There we are having a statement function called as case function we have discussed. That case function is nothing but switch statement in Apex programming language. Okay, clear? Now, let's see. Make a note of this one. Conditional statements. While executing the Apex programming code or Apex code, while executing the Apex code with the help of Apex runtime engine, Apex runtime engine, it may causes few exceptions. It may causes few exceptions. Now, exception is nothing but an undesired behavior or an unexpected behavior of an application at runtime. Exception is nothing but an undesired behavior or an unexpected behavior of an application at runtime. When an exception is occurred, it will cause the abnormal termination of the program. It will cause the abnormal termination of the program. And it will represent the exception message in technical terms. Technical terms. Now, to handle the exceptions, we have to use conditional statements. We have to use conditional statements. Conditional statements are used to add one or more user defined conditions to be get verified before executing the statements. If all the specified conditions are satisfied, then it will execute the associated block of statements. Else, it will skip the execution of the statements. That is, by using conditional statements, we can change the control flow of the application execution. Now, Apex provides the below three conditional statements. First one, if condition. Second one, switch statement. Third one, ternary operator. These are the three conditional statements available in Apex programming. Then what exactly each conditional statement? We'll see one by one, the syntax and the practical use cases. Done with these points? Done everyone? Now let's see. So as part of Apex programming, we have three conditional statements are available. If conditional statement, switch statement, and ternary operator. These are the three conditional statements are available. So while introducing that force.com platform in the year 2000, Salesforce provides only two conditional statements. First one, if condition, second one, ternary operator. These two conditional statements are available in the year 2000. During that time, we don't have switch statement in Apex programming. Switch statement is not available in Apex programming while introducing force.com platform in the year 2000. But switch is a very common conditional statement available in all the programming languages. Whatever the programming languages that we have in IT industry as of now, in every programming language, switch statement is one of the common conditional statement. It may be Pascal also, it may be C also, C++ also, Java also, C Sharp also, .NET also. Everywhere, C switch statement is common. But in Apex programming language, we don't have switch statement in the year 2000 because Salesforce people did not introduce a switch statement because they have identified some performance issues in switch statement. Salesforce people identified there are few performance issues in switch statement which will take some more time to validate the conditions, which will put some more load on the Salesforce server. For that one, they did not introduce a switch statement in Apex programming in the year 2000. From there, the people are using only if condition and the ternary operators. From there onwards, each and every Salesforce developer is requesting to Salesforce to provide switch statement also as part of conditional statements. From there, Salesforce people did some lot of enhancements on switch statement. They did some performance optimization also. They have changed the complete syntax of that switch statement. And finally, they have introduced this switch statement in Apex programming from winter 18 release onwards. From winter 18 release onwards. That means from 2018 winter release onwards, we are having switch statement. That means since almost 5 years. Since the last 5 years, we are having switch statement in Apex programming language. Before that, for 18 years of time, we don't have switch statement in Apex programming. We have only if and the ternary operators. From winter 18 release onwards, we are having switch statement also in Apex programming language. Then, then what exactly these conditional statements, how to use each conditional statement, what is the syntax, how they will execute, what is the format, we'll see one by one here. Okay, now let's see. First one, if conditional statement. First one, if conditional statement. Basically, if is one of the conditional statement. If is one of the conditional statement given by Apex programming, which is used to add one or more number of conditions to be get verified before executing the statements. So before executing the piece of code, before executing either one line of code or multiple lines of code, if you want to check any conditions, then we can use the help of if condition. Now, so whatever the conditions we have specified, if all the conditions are satisfied, it will execute the associated piece of code. Suppose if the conditions get failed, okay, if the conditions get failed, then we can't execute those statements. It will skip the execution of the statements. Okay. Now, so in this case, by using this if conditional statement, we can add one or more conditions. Here you can raise a question. Sir, how many conditions we can add? Do we have any limitation? No. We can add n number of conditions also to validate. We can add n number of conditions also. We can validate. So there is no limitations at all. Upon combining the multiple conditions, we have to use the help of logical operators that already we have discussed. As part of Apex programming, we have three logical operators are available: end operator, or operator, not operator. Three logical operators are available. We can use these three logical operators in order to club the multiple conditions together to form a compound condition. Compound conditions means what? We can combine the multiple conditions together to validate. Because in some cases, one condition is enough to validate, but in some cases, multiple conditions also to be get verified. We'll see all the practical use cases also here today. Now, so in this case, we can prepare compound conditions also by using logical operators. If all the conditions are satisfied, then we can execute this a piece of code as well. If the conditions are failed, just we can skip the execution of these statements. Okay. Now, let's see. As part of this Apex programming, in order to use this Apex programming, we should be aware of the syntax. In if conditional statement, we have four formats are available. We have four formats are available in if conditional statement. First one, simple if condition. Second one, if else condition. Third one, else if condition. Fourth one, nested if condition. Okay, these are the four formats. Simple if else, else if, nested if. These are the four formats are available in if conditional statement. Each format will be having its own syntax. Now let's see each format, their syntaxes, how to use them, when to use which format, we'll see one by one. Okay, now let's see. Make a note of this one. If is a powerful common conditional statement which is used to add which is used to add one or more conditions to be get verified before executing the statements. We can add the multiple conditions. We can add the multiple conditions by using logical operators. With the help of the logical operators, we can add multiple conditions also. If all the conditions are satisfied, then it will execute the block of statements else it will skip the execution of the statements. Now, Apex provides the below four formats of if conditional statement. First one, simple if. Second one, if else. Third one, else if. Fourth one, nested if conditions. Done with these points? Now, let's see the simple if condition. So, what exactly the simple if condition? How it look like? Now, let me explain. Let me give you the syntax first. Now, in this case, we can specify if, we can specify the conditions. Not only one, multiple conditions also we can able to add. And here we can specify the curly braces. That means a block. Okay, block. That means if you want to write one or more lines of code, we can write that block. Here we can write the statements. Here we can write the statements. So what is the meaning of this syntax? Now let me explain. Now, whenever we are executing the code, it will execute the statements one by one, one by one, one by one. At a certain point of time, it is reaching to the if condition. As soon as whenever it is reaching to the if condition, whatever the conditions we have specified, these conditions will be getting verified first. If all the conditions are specified, which you have given over here, if these are satisfied, then immediately it will enter into the block. Whatever the statements you have written, these statements will be executed. Okay. If the conditions are satisfied, it will enter into the block. It will execute the statements whatever we have written. Suppose if the conditions are failed, upon verifying these conditions, if the conditions are failed, then simply it will skip the execution of this block of statements. It will comes out of the block automatically. Okay, that means whether this block of statements should be executed or not, that will be decided by these conditions. If the conditions are satisfied, the associated block of statements will be executed, or else it will skip the execution of the statement. Okay, clear? Now, let's see. Then how can we prepare the condition? What is the syntax we used to follow to prepare the condition? How to prepare multiple conditions? Now let me explain. Okay, now make a note of this one. In this approach, it will validate all the specified conditions. If all the conditions are satisfied, then it will execute the block of statements, else it will skip the execution of the statements. Now, we can prepare the conditions as below. We can prepare the conditions as below. Syntax. We can prepare the conditions as below. The syntax is we can specify the variable name and an operator and a value. Like for example, we can specify rating equals to heart. Rating value is equals to heart. I would like to specify the conditions over here. Now, we can specify the condition. We can take that variable name or the field name based on which you would like to form the condition. Rating is equals to heart. We can specify industry equals to some manufacturing. Annual revenue value is greater than some 25 lakhs. And then I would like to specify second number value is greater than 0 and the phone number value not equals to null. Like that we can able to form the conditions here. We can form the conditions. If you want to prepare the multiple conditions here, how can we do now? Let's see. We can prepare the compound conditions with the help of logical operators as below. How can we add the multiple conditions? Now let's see. In order to add the multiple conditions, we have to use the help of logical operators. So what logical operators we have? And, or, not. Three logical operators. Now in this case we can specify rating value equals to heart and annual revenue greater than 40 lakhs. Now phone value equals to empty, that means null. Now, and I would like to specify email value not equals to null. Now I'm indicating city value, city equals to Bangalore. R city equals to Chennai. Like that, we can able to form multiple conditions also with the help of logical operator. First condition and the second condition and the third condition, like that n number of conditions you can add to validate the data based on your requirement, based on your application requirement, based on the complexity of the requirement. We can add n number of conditions also over here. Done with these conditions. Now let's see. Come to this program here. Come to our program now. Now tell me where we need to add the condition, what condition we need to add now. Hmm. Before the division or after the division? Before the division. Before the division, here I would like to add the condition here. I'm adding the condition. If, what is the condition now?
n
If the
number
second is greater than 0, I'm
0.
indicating. If the second number value is greater than 0, then only please execute this statement. I'm preparing the block. Generally, block will be required when block means what? Here, open braces, close braces. This is called as block. In this block, we can write one or more lines of code. If you are writing more than one line of code, then this block will be mandatory. If you want to execute only one line, this block is not mandatory. Directly, we can write the statement here itself. Like we can able to write the statement here itself. You no need to write any blocks for one single line. If you want to execute more than one line, then block is mandatory. Now, here we have 4 lines of code is available, so that I would like to write that block. Now, that means what? So first 3 operations I'm doing as it is. I'm not adding any conditions over here because it may be any value input values. These 3 operations will perform as it is. But whenever I'm performing the division operation and the modulus operation, second number value should be must and should greater than 0. Then only I want to perform. Or else it will cause some unexpected exceptions. For that reason, to avoid these kind of exceptions, we are going to be adding the condition. Before executing this a piece of code, I would like to add a condition. If the condition is satisfied, then only the execute statements will be executed, or else it will be skipping the execution of the statements. Clear? Now, let's see. For example, I'm giving this a second number value as some 490. First number value 25,000, second number value is 490. Click on execute. My operation has been done. So now it is representing all the five possible results: addition result, subtraction, multiplication, division, and the modulus. Because first three operations are done as usual, then it will check the condition. What is the second number value that we have given here? 490. Here we are having greater than 0. Now tell me, is the condition is satisfied or not? 490 is greater than 0 or not? Yes. So that it will enter into the block, it will execute that statement, okay, division and modulus both. Okay. Now, suppose if I'm giving the second number as a 0, then what will happen? Hmm. It will execute this first operation as usual, second also, third also. Because no conditions are available, it will execute as it is. When coming to this particular line number 16, it will check the condition. What is the second number value? 0. Here what we have given greater than 0. Now tell me, is the conditions are satisfied? No, condition is failed because 0 is not greater than 0. 0 is equals to 0. So the condition is failed. Then it will skip the execution of the statement. So it is performing how many operations? Only three operations here. The remaining two operations will be skipped. Now let's see. Click on execute button. No exceptions, no error message. Select the debug only checkbox. Now we can see only the three operation results: addition result, subtraction result, multiplication result. Clear? This is how we can avoid the exceptions by adding one or more user defined conditions with the help of conditional statement. Okay? Now, let me place this code. Clear? Now, let's see. Come to the scenario. Let me explain the situation here. Suppose, for example, I'm giving the second number value as some 45. Upon executing this piece of code, how many results it will display? Five results. All the five operation results: addition result, subtraction, multiplication, division, and the modulus. All the five results you can see. Suppose if I'm giving this second number value as 0, how many results we can see? Three results. Okay, remaining two operations, so division and the modulus will be skipped. It won't execute that piece of code. That means what? It is showing only three results here. Whenever the user is executing the program, user is expecting five results. Okay, user is expecting five results. But upon giving the second number value as 0, user can able to see only three results here. In this case of what is the user's thought? The user will thought of there is a problem in the application. Application is not working properly. I'm expecting five results, but it is showing only three results over here. So the developer did not written the code properly as part of this application development. So the user will thought of there is a problem in the application. But actually the problem is not from the application side, problem is from the user side. Because user has entered the second number value as 0. He has given some wrong inputs. He has given some wrong values, because of the two operations has been skipped from the execution. So now in this case, even though if I am going to be providing the wrong values, then I need to know what mistake that I did. Like for example, assume that. For example, I'm going to my ICICI Bank application. I'm going to the ICICI Bank application. I would like to log in here. I'm selecting the option personal because it's a savings account. Now it provides a login screen to me. In this login screen, I'm entering that user ID. Like for example, I've given my user ID. I'm giving some wrong password here. I'm giving some wrong password. Whenever I'm giving the wrong password, when I click on login button, what will happen? What will happen? It will show the error message, invalid username or password. Now tell me, suppose if it is not showing that message, then how do you know what is the problem? The people can't understand. Okay, definitely will thought of there is a problem in the application, but actually problem is what? From my side. I have entered wrong password. Even though I did the mistake as a customer or as an end user, then my system should able to detect my mistake. It has to show, boss, you did this mistake, so please correct it. It has to show some message to me. Then based on that, I will get realized with my mistake. I will go back to the program. I will enter the correct values. I will try to log into my application. So in this case, whenever I'm click on this login button, it will show the error message. You have made one unsuccessful attempt over here. Okay, whatever the username and the password which you have entered is incorrect. It is showing some message. If it is not showing the message, then I can't understand what is the problem. So now, in this case, like the similar way here also, whenever I'm going to passing some second number value as 0, then it is performing first three operations as it is. And then it has to show some message, boss, we are unable to perform division operation and the modulus operation because you have entered second number value as 0. It has to show some message to me. That means if the value is more than 0, that means if the condition is satisfied, I would like to execute some piece of code. If the condition is failed, I want to execute some different piece of code, a different set of statements. Both positive conditions I would like to handle, negative also I would like to handle both. In this kind of situation, what we can do? For that one, as part of this if conditional statement, we are using second format that is called as if else. Okay, we are using if else condition. Clear? Simple if you will be having only if condition. If the conditions are failed, what needs to be done? It won't have any format here. Just it will skip the execution of the statement. Okay, now when coming to the if else condition, how the syntax will look like, now let me explain. Syntax. If we can specify the conditions to be get verified, if the conditions are satisfied, then we can execute the statements. Now, write the statements. Else, that means if the conditions are failed, then I want to execute this block of statements. Now, this is called as a true block statements. That means if the condition is true, execute this block of statements. This is called as false block statements. That means if the condition is false, if the condition is failed, execute this block of statement. That means both positive, negative, both are available over here. Now, in this case, what will happen? Whatever the conditions we have specified, if all the conditions are satisfied, immediately it will enter into the block. It will execute the statements, whatever we have written, it will comes out of the block automatically. Suppose whatever the conditions we have specified, if the conditions are failed, then immediately it will go to the else block, it will execute this statements. Okay, it will execute the statements. Clear? Understood the concept now? Next. Now, let's see. In this approach, if all the conditions are satisfied, then it will execute the associated block of statements. If the conditions are failed, then it will execute the false block statements. This is also called as else block also. False block, else block, all are same. This is the second format of if condition, that is if else. Done with this? Now, let's see how can we use this format in order to validate this. Now tell me what we can do. If the second number value is greater than 0, then we are going to be executing this piece of code. Else, what we can do? Hmm. I want to show some message. System.debug, division and modulus operations cannot be performed as the second number value is 0. Okay, clear? I would like to show some message to the people over here. Then the people will look into the message. Based on the message, they will get realized with their mistake. They will go back to the program. They will enter the right values. They will see all the results. Okay. Now let's see. So now, whenever we are adding the conditions, not only adding that positive case, we are handling that negative case also by using else block. As part of this if else condition, if all the specified conditions are satisfied, it will execute this block of statements. Suppose if the conditions get failed, it will comes to the else block, it will execute the else block statements automatically. Now click on execute button. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is indicating first three operation results are as it is. Then it is showing the message division and the modulus operations cannot be performed because you have entered second number value is 0. Then the people will look into the message, they will go back to the program, they will enter the right values. Suppose if I am giving the correct values here, that means both the values are more than 0. Like as I am indicating some 29. Then when I click on execute button, I can see all the 5 possible results over here. Clear? Understood the concept now? No. So this is how we can able to use okay if condition, simple if condition, if else condition to add one or more conditions before the statements. Okay? Now clear up to this one? Next. Now let's take a small program here. How to implement? Let's see. Take a small use case. Write an Apex program to find out the student result. To find out the student result. Now, we have the 5 subjects for the student. For example, English, Hindi, maths, physics, and chemistry. These are the 5 subjects. Student will be pass when if the student got more than 40 marks in all the subjects. He will be fail if the student got less than 40 marks in any of the subject. If the student is getting less than 40 marks in any of the subject, he will be failed. This is my requirement. Now tell me how can we define the variables, how many variables we have to define, how to write the code, how to use that if conditional statement. Now tell me here. How many variables we need to define? 5 variables, because in order to check whether student got more than 40 marks in each subject or not, we need to collect his marks first. How many subjects we have? 5 subjects. So we need to collect the 5 subject marks. To store those 5 subject marks, we need 5 variables of type integer, because the marks means numerical value. So we need that integer type of variables. Now let's see. I'm defining this of 5 variables. Integer, English, Hindi, maths, physics, and the chemistry. Now I'm assigning some values for these variables. English, he got some 87 marks. Hindi, some 76 marks. Maths, some 94. Chemistry, he got some 96 marks. Physics, he got some 98 marks. Now, so these are the marks are available here for the student. Now tell me how can we check whether student got passed or failed? If conditional statement, okay? Now, English greater than or equals to 40. That means even though he got 40 marks, he will be pass. Now, next. End condition or condition? End condition. Why end condition? Right. Both the conditions should be satisfied. Now, second one. Hindi greater than or equals to 40. Next. And maths greater than or equals to 40. And physics greater than or equals to 40. And chemistry greater than or equals to 40. That means multiple conditions I'm preparing here. This is the first condition, second condition, third condition, fourth condition, and the fifth condition. All these 5 conditions I'm combining together with the help of logical operator, that is AND. Because all the conditions should be satisfied. For that one we are using AND. Now, if the student is getting more than 40 marks in all the subjects, then he will be what? Pass. So now do I need to write a block here? Only one line of code I want to write. Do I need to specify braces here? Not required. So directly we can specify. System.debug. Congratulations. You got passed. Else, then what we can do? system.debug. I would like to show the message. You got failed. I want to indicate better luck next time. I would like to show some message. If the conditions are satisfied, I would like to execute the piece of code. If the conditions are failed, I'm executing different piece of code over here. So depends upon the requirement. Based on the situation, which conditional statement is suitable, we have to decide, we have to use it. Okay. Now, so here I have given all the values are more than 40 marks. Like as 87, 76, 94, 96, 98. All are greater than 40 marks. Now click on execute. Select the debug only. It is indicating congratulations, you got passed. Suppose for example, in maths he is very poor. So he got only 36, 34 marks in mathematics. Now in the remaining subject he scored very good marks. Only in mathematics he got 34. Now what will be the result then now? Pass or fail? Fail. Even though if he is getting less than 40 marks in any of the subject, he will be failed. Now click on execute button. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is indicating the result. You got failed. Better luck next time. Okay. Now clear up to this one. This is how we can use if else condition. Now make a note of this code. Use case. Okay. Then with this code, practice is very, very important. Don't make the things pending. You can do the practice in the initial days itself so that you can understand each and every functionality.
Sir, do we no need to mention that curly braces here?
No, not required. Curly braces is not required because we are writing only one line of code, right? So curly braces is not required. If it is more than one line you want to execute, then curly braces is mandatory. That means block is mandatory.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Done with this? Now write one more program here. Now write an Apex program to find out the biggest number from the given two numbers. I have two values are available with me, two numerical values. From those two numerical values, which one is the biggest one, which one is the smallest one, I would like to find out. That is my requirement. Now, now tell me in this case how many variables that we need to define. Two variables here because we need two values here. I want to check whether two values, that means whatever the two values that I'm supplying from those two values, which one is the biggest one, I would like to find out. So that here I need two values. Both will be of type numerical. So to hold those numerical values, we have to define two variables of type integer. I want to define two integer variables. In those two variables, I would like to store the values. Then I would like to find out which one is biggest one by using conditional statements. Now, let's see. I'm defining two variables now. Integer first number, I'm assigning some value like as 87,000, okay, 490, second number value. Upon defining the variable itself, we can assign the value at the time of definitions. Second number value I'm passing, okay, 29,000, okay, 450. These are the two variables. I have defined two variables, first number and the second number variable. In these two variables, I have stored some values. First number is variable is having the value 87,490. Second number variable is having the value 29,450. Okay, these are the two values are available here. Now, I would like to check which one is the biggest one. So I'm adding the condition. If first number value is greater than second number. If the first number value is greater than second number, then I would like to show the message. What is the result then? First number is the biggest one, right? First number is the biggest one. Else, then second number is the biggest one. System.debug. Second number is the biggest one. That's it. Simple. So, whatever the two values that we have supplied as input, from those two values, we can find out which value is the biggest one here. Okay? Now. Let's see. Let me execute this a piece of code. Click on execute. Select the debug only. Now it is indicating first number is the biggest one because first number value is more than 87,000. For example, I'm giving second number value as 1,29,450. First number value is same 87,490. Second number value is 1,29,450. Now click on execute. We can see the result. Select the debug only. Now it is indicating second number is the biggest one. Clear? So this is how we can able to find out okay which value is the biggest one. Over here, which one is the smallest one, we can find out.
Excuse me, Firoz.
Yes?
So after writing the first condition in the if, do we need to end that line with the semicolon, or
No,
is
no,
it
no, no,
okay?
no, 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 no. For this one, for the conditional statement, don't write any semicolons. Okay,
Okay.
in the syntax itself, I told you here, don't write any semicolons. Whatever the logic you are writing inside that, okay, for that one, we can specify semicolons.
Okay. And for the variables, what we are assigning, right? So can we
Mhm.
write in the separate lines? After that, can we terminate with that semicolon?
Yes, you can do. Because here we can check it out. Okay, here I have defined the variables and initialize within the same statement. Initially
Yes.
here, we can do like this also. Initially, we can define the variables over here like this, and then we can assign the values like this. All the formats I'm showing to you in the programming so that you can use whatever the way you feel comfortable.
No, no, I'm asking that instead of writing the
Hmm.
first line like integer English 87, comma, then in the second line maths 80, 96, then
No, no,
semicolon, we
no,
can
no,
write that.
no, 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 no. Because here we have to write within the single statement. We have to close the statement first.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, Firoz.
Clear up to this one? Now, now let's come to a scenario. So here I have given some two different values for the first number variable and second number variable. Suppose if I am giving both the numbers are same, then what is the result of this program now? Hmm. I have given both are same values. Hmm. In this case, what it will do? Trace the program. First number value is what? 87,490. Second number value is what? Same. 87,490. What is the operator we have given here? Greater than. Now tell me, is the condition is satisfied or failed then? Failed because both are same. The condition is failed. If the condition is failed, what it will do? It will execute the else block. That means it will show the message second number is the biggest one. Now tell me, really second number is the biggest one here? No, both are identical. That means what? My program is giving some wrong results. Now, in this kind of situation, whatever the condition we have specified here, this single condition is not sufficient. I want some more conditions to be validated. I want to add some more branches of conditions. In that case, if you want to add multiple levels of conditions, then we have to use one more format that is called as else if condition. Then we have to use one more format that is else if condition. Now, as part of this else if condition, we can form multiple branches of conditions also. Like for example, if we can specify conditions and we can write the statements. Else if, that means I'm checking one more condition. If the first branch conditions are not satisfied, second branch conditions. I would like to specify conditions. Here I'm writing the statements. If that is also not satisfied, I will check one more here. I would like to check the conditions. Write the statements. Like that we can write, okay, if all the conditions are failed, then we can execute else block statements. This is the syntax. As part of this else if condition, this is the syntax we used to follow. Done with this condition? Now, then how to use this else if condition, how to use this one to farm the conditions and to validate the data, we'll see in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we'll see the practical concepts of else if condition and then nested if condition also we'll see practically. And then we'll enter into a switch statement. Okay? Do the practice on these features today. Okay? Thank you.